Joining us, Anthony Saccaro, the president of Providence Financial and Insurance Services. Anthony, great to have you back on the show. I would love to get your thoughts just on what we're seeing here. I mean, you highlight the market as being full of cross currents right now. So as we're all aware of that, and I'm saying again today, another record high, what signals are you watching for as we have so much brewing under the surface right now?
Yeah, there is a lot brewing. If I told you that we have a war in Iran and energy prices are at multi-year highs, if I told you that the consumer is weakening and the labor market's weakening, if I told you that consumer sentiment is down, and I told you that we might be entering a period of stagflation, and then I asked you where the market would be from here, where do you think it is? It would not be record highs, which is where the market is. And I'm afraid that people are looking past a lot of these things that are brewing under the surface, particularly energy prices, right? The travel industry has been disrupted, as we've seen by, Spirit Airlines recently as part of that. But the reality is that we are heading into a period where I almost feel like people, like investors, think that maybe the market is a safe haven. You kind of get the feel like no one thinks the market can go down again. And someone this morning that I was watching said that we might just be very, very, very much sleepwalking into another pretty large recession. And I would agree with that based on everything that's going on. So it's got us all scratching our heads as to why the market's at record highs based on energy prices, based on all the things that we just mentioned.
Fascinating, because even our president has come out and said he's surprised by the market's reaction to some of the stuff that is going on right now. But we have growth holding right around 2%. We are seeing that uptick in inflation, a lot of that tied to those energy prices that you mentioned. And we're still unsure how, gosh, dare I use the word transitory here, that is going to be. Are we entering a more difficult market environment here, or do you think we are just going to continue to look through all of the uncertainty and hope for the best, that the optimism of looking through is just going to work out in the end?
No, I think that's what your typical investors are thinking. I think the latter part of what you said, that we're just going to keep going, the market's going to keep growing, we're going to be okay, the market always goes up. I think that's what most people are thinking. And it makes sense because the market has gone up for so far, so fast, for such a long period of time. I mean, if we go back to March 9th of 2009, other than COVID and a few hiccups here and there, the market's gone straight up. And people tend to think that that's normal. It's called normalcy bias. What happened yesterday is going to happen again today. What happened last year and the last 10 years is going to continue happening. And so people think the market going up is just normal, but it's not. The market has long periods of time where it will go up, and those are followed by long periods of time where the market will have a major crash and then stay flat for a long period of time. And I think we could be heading into one of those times. And if you're working, you're 20, you're 30, you're 40, it doesn't matter. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're about to retire, you're going to retire in the next few years, I think there could be some major problems ahead. So investors, I think it's going to keep going up. But no, I think there could be some problems around the corner. But we don't know what that means. If we target 6 months, if we target 2 years, that's the thing we don't know.
So with all of that, all of the unknowns, how are you positioning right now? Are you making big bets? Is this the time to try to preserve your capital? How are you looking at the market right now?
Well, it depends on what age range you're in and where what phase of life you're in. If you're growing up in this world, meaning heading towards retirement, keep dollar cost averaging. I would focus on long-term plays, potentially, tech with AI and everything else. I think if you want to be overweight somewhere, that's not a bad place to be. But if you're within 5 years or so of retirement, you need to start thinking about taking some chips off the table. You've done well over the last dozen years and change. I think you want to start focusing on income producing investments, things that you can count on no matter what the market does. Maybe you're looking at consumer staples because those are not cyclical. People need to buy toothpaste and toilet paper no matter what the market does. If you want to play it a little more aggressively, again, as I mentioned, maybe you can overweight NASDAQ a little bit, some of the tech industries. What I think you might want to stay away from, though, and I've heard this trade from people I've talked to, and that is, let's get into energy. Well, with energy as high as it is, if the war in Iran gets resolved, energy is going to go through the floor, and you could be buying high and selling low, which of course is the opposite of what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. But you mentioned staying away from some of those cyclicals here. So is there also an opportunity from your viewpoint then in healthcare?
Yeah, absolutely. It's non-cyclical. Healthcare is good in a rising inflation environment. For the first time in a while, the Fed's talked about the fact that inflation might they might have to raise interest rates because inflation is going in the opposite direction. So healthcare is one of those things that can pass on inflation to the consumer. Same thing with consumer staples. They can raise the price of groceries and the price of things that, everyday goods that you're going to buy as inflation goes through. So in a period of rising inflation, in a period where you want to be a little more stable, if you're closer to retirement, healthcare, consumer staples, for those reasons, I think are a good place.
And staying specifically in healthcare here, Anthony, where are you focused? Are you looking at large cap pharma? Are you looking at services? Or are you looking at some of these more innovation driven names?
Well, I can't, because I'm an RIA, I can't mention specific names, you're aware. But the reality is, I think that if you're looking at healthcare and you're looking at companies that are focused on AI companies, and there's a lot of AI companies out there, that a lot of healthcare companies out there that are using AI to develop pharma, I think that's a good place to go. Companies that are taking advantage of AI. What you have to be careful of in healthcare, though, are the patents, because after 7 years, those patents are going to expire, and then there's going to be a lot of competition. So I find that a lot of people look at healthcare without really considering the fact that there might only be a few more years on the patent, and that's going to affect the price of the healthcare. But in general, look for companies that are continuing to innovate rather. And one of the biggest things, if you really want to focus on an area, weight loss, right? There's a lot of companies out there that are moving in that direction. It's a race as to who gets who gets there first, and a lot of good companies.
I am fascinated by this GLP-1 race. So you just touched on one of my favorite things to cover. But Anthony, thanks for being with us today. Some great insight there. Anthony Saccaro from Providence Financial and Insurance Services.